takes it in overtime. Brady can chop, breakaway shoots, scores!
Welcome to SENS Talk. My name is Brandon and I am your host. That's it. The 2023 National Hockey League draft is over, and Ottawa today added 5 new prospects to their prospect pool. However, Ottawa did not draft till the 4th round, so for the first half of the draft, it was a snooze fest for Sens Army. But that doesn't mean Sens Twitter wasn't going crazy, including myself. There was a couple of moments where, hey, maybe Ottawa was close to making a deal, but in reality, Ottawa was not even close at all today to make a deal whatsoever. It was expected that Pierre Dorion might move into the 2nd or 3rd round, because like I just said, their first pick in this draft was in the 4th round, 108th overall. So Pierre Dorion yesterday in a press conference said that he would want to potentially move into the 2nd or 3rd round. Of course, that did not end up happening. As well, as you can probably tell, another thing did not end up happening. Alex DeBrincat is still a member of your Ottawa Senators. In that same press conference yesterday, Pierre Dorion said he does not want to trade Alex DeBrincat for pennies on the dollar. Essentially what he's saying is that the negotiations he's done so far with GMs throughout the National Hockey League have not gotten to a point where, one, he thinks there's fair value for Alex DeBrincat, but 2, haven't even gone far enough to include Alex DeBrincat and his camp, like Jeff Jackson, his agent, to be involved in the process to potentially negotiate a contract extension. The trade offers that Pierre Dorion has been getting for Alex DeBrincat have not been sufficient whatsoever, so we haven't even gotten to the point of Alex DeBrincat potentially negotiating an extension with a potential trade partner. So really what this means is we're on the long haul here for Alex DeBrincat. I would expect this to drag out over the next few weeks. Ian Mendez noted in an article today that his arbitration hearing will be in mid-August, so we'll probably have a resolution by then or around then. So strap in. It's going to take at least another month or so, I would imagine, but you never know. If Ottawa finally gets a package they feel that's valuable enough to give up Alex DeBrincat, then he will be gone. But as of right now, Pierre Dorion has not gotten anything close to what he thinks is fair for Alex DeBrincat. As well, before the draft begun, just before, like at 10:30 in the morning, Ottawa re-signed defenseman Jacob Larson, who played 7 games last year in Ottawa, former first-round pick of the Anaheim Ducks. They signed him to a 1-year, 2-way deal. They originally weren't going to qualify him. It would have been a 1-year, 1-way, $1.3 million qualification. Far too much. Instead, they re-sign him, but onto a 1-year, 2-way contract at $775,000 in the National Hockey League and $325,000 in the AHL. Solid depth. You can never have enough NHL veteran depth in Belleville that could be called up in a pinch if necessary for a game or two here and there. So it's never a bad idea to bring in some veteran depth with NHL experience for the Belleville core, help the young guys, but more importantly as well, hey look, if we have injuries on the blue line, he can be called up for a game or two on emergency recall. So welcome back to Ottawa, Jacob Larson. Now with that, let's get into the draft. 5 players added to Ottawa's prospect pool today. Let's start at 108th overall. Ottawa's first pick today in the 4th round. They took right-handed defenseman Hoyt Stanley, who's 6'3", 191 pounds, a big boy who's committed to Cornell, smart lad as well, of the NCAA next year. In the BCHL last season, he got 38 points in 53 games played. According to Logan Horn of the Hockey Writers, he's got the size and handedness that NHL teams love. Plus, he's an able skater who has impressive skill with the puck. One of his favorite players, by the way, growing up was Daniel Alfredsson. So this guy is already an Ottawa Senator to me. He was born to be an Ottawa Senator, and he was a Vancouver Canuck fan growing up. But anyone that loves Daniel Alfredsson growing up has a good taste in hockey. So great sign right there. Already like the guy. And looking at his highlights, I think Ottawa might have found a steal here in Hoyt Stanley. He projects to be a solid 2-way second pairing defenseman in the National Hockey League. But let's see how he does against tougher competition in the NCAA. Remember, the NCAA is much tougher than the BCHL or the CHL, WHL, all the junior leagues in Canada, because the NCAA has a lot more grown men there, much more physical type of game there as well. It's much more rigorous. So really excited to see how Hoyt Stanley does in NCAA with Cornell, who's a very good team and a very good, division, whatever you want to call it, in the NCAA. So he's going to have to face some tough competition, but that will only make him better. Now, most scouting reports had him ranked before 100 overall. So Ottawa, frankly, got a good pick here at 108th overall. Good value. And once again, it's just on your screen there. I mean, he's got some great skating abilities, flawless skating, and that will really translate to the NHL or AHL level, to the pro level, wherever he ends up first before making the National Hockey League. And I truly want to emphasize how important it is that Hoyt Stanley is a fantastic skater at a young age. Look, in the junior leagues, if you're not a great skater, you could get by. There's a lot of goal scoring in the OHL and these junior leagues in Canada, so you can get by, you can still produce. But once you get to the NCAA or the pro level, like AHL, ECHL, or the National Hockey League, you got to be a good skater because you got to keep up with some of the best talent hockey has to offer. That's just the reality of things. So if Hoyt Stanley is a great skater, which he is, that makes it far easier to project his long-term NHL projectability, because remember, with prospects, more often than not, the thing holding them back is their skating. So if you're a fantastic skater at a young age and that's one of your strongest traits right away before you even get to the pro levels, then that will make everything else, all the learning curves, all the different things you have to learn. Maybe he has to be more physical. Maybe he has to work on his offensive game. Everything will come if you're a good skater, because that's the toughest thing for prospects to get down in terms of, getting to that next level. If you're a good skater, everything else should fall into place. So that's a very encouraging sign. Really excited to see this right-handed defenseman in Cornell next year. Welcome to Ottawa, Hoyt Stanley. I am fired up for this pick. Frankly, I've never been this fired up for a 4th-round pick before, but this kid, I think, is a steal. And once again, he was projected to be taken a little bit earlier. So I really like this pick. Welcome to Ottawa, Hoyt Stanley. Hopefully soon, Hoyt Stanley will be hoisting the Stanley Cup. In the 5th round, 140th overall, the Ottawa Senators selected defenseman Matthew Andonovski from Kitchener of the OHL. Now, the left-handed defenseman is 6'2" and 201 pounds. Big boy, another beefy guy. He compiled 16 points last year in 67 games in the OHL with the Rangers. And look, in his OHL career, he has scored 0 goals, so it's safe to say that he's very much a stay-at-home defensive defenseman. And look, in terms of draft ranking, it was a bit of a reach. He was projected to go a little later in the hundreds overall, so yeah, I guess it's a bit of a reach, but not by much. I'm okay with it because look, just look at your screen right now. This guy can throw him. He loves to drop the gloves. Look at this tilt. He fires up the crowd just like Chris Nealer. This is an Ottawa Senator right here, ladies and gentlemen. Fire up to have him on the team, on the squad, in the prospect pool. Because look, remember, he's a stay-at-home defenseman. His numbers are not going to be flashy, but he can provide some grit to this prospect pool, and maybe one day the Ottawa Senator blue line, some physicality as well. And it never hurts to have a guy on your blue line that can throw him. Look at Radko Gudas, for example, in Florida. So I'm not comparing the two, but that would be what he would be like if he makes the NHL one day. So wow, I mean, just absolutely killed that guy, as you saw on your screen moments ago. Very physical player, loves to drop the gloves, has room to grow as well. His skating will be the key for his success at the NHL level, but he is a pest. And guess what? The pesky Sens cannot have enough pests. I mean, Angus Crookshank, Tyler Boucher, Brady Tkachuk, Riley Gregg, the list goes on. I love the pesky Sens. I say bring them back, and Matthew Andonovski can absolutely help bring the pesky Sens back. Love bringing a pest onto the team. He seems like the type of player that you would love to have on your team, but you would hate to have to play against. So welcome to Ottawa, Matthew Andonovski, and I'm really excited to see how he does in the OHL next year with the Kitchener Rangers. Maybe he could score an OHL goal as well, but once again, it never hurts to bring in a defensive defenseman, especially a left-handed one at that. He's got some size, and once again, don't let the stat line fool you. Yeah, look, 16 points in 67 games played doesn't wow you, but he's a stay-at-home defenseman. So as long as his skating continues to improve and he continues to use his physicality, he can absolutely project one day potentially to be an NHL defenseman. We just have to see how he continues to develop in the OHL. And last thing about this player, I don't really look too much into plus minus, but for a stay-at-home defenseman, it does kind of make sense to take a look at that. He was a plus 25 last year, and the Locked On Sens guys brought this up as well on Twitter. Thomas Samara, Sens prospect as well in Kitchener, had a minus like 23 or 24 last year. Both defensemen on the same team with wildly different plus minuses. So that definitely can give a bit of a glimpse into what's to come potentially with Matthew Andonovski. Clearly, when he was on the ice, Kitchener was not allowing goals. So that's a good sign of what's to come. Now, the next pick Ottawa took was 204th overall as they selected center Owen Beckner out of the BCHL. He produced 50.17 goals in 53 games played last year in the BCHL and is committed to Colorado College of the NCAA next year. Now, another big guy. He's 6'2", 175 pounds, which is a decent size, for a center. Definitely want him to gain a bit of weight there for sure, but 6'2" is a good frame to have for a center. You don't want to have a short guy, drawing at center ice. So decent size size for a center right off the bat. That makes me excited. But from highlights, he scores many goals from just inside the crease, so he has a nose for the net for sure, and has a heavy NHL-ready shot. His skating is a bit choppy, but not terrible. That is something he absolutely has to improve on. If you look at his BCHL highlights, it's clear that because it's the junior leagues, he was able to get away with the choppy skating, but the NCAA, he will not be able to. So that's something to definitely watch with Colorado College next year. But once again, he's a center. He produced a good amount of points. He's got the frame to be an NHL guy or a pro player for sure. Let's see how he does in the NCAA. I'm excited to see him play. So welcome to Ottawa, Owen Beckner. Now, at 207th overall, the Senators took a goaltender out of Kazakhstan, Vladimir Nikitan. Firstly, love the name, but Vladimir Nikitan is the first ever player in Senator history to be drafted out of Kazakhstan. The first ever Kazakh player. That is awesome. Congratulations to Vladimir Nikitan. Some SENS history today. He will be playing in the BCHL next year. A lot of BCHL connections today, ironically, but once again, just really cool to see a Kazakhstan player drafted to the Ottawa Senators organization. And by the way, this goaltender, this might be a hidden gem, might be a steal. He put up a .921 save percentage and 2.07 goals against average in 24 games in Kazakhstan's under-20 league last year. Has represented Kazakhstan on the international stage as well. He's 6'4", and when representing Kazakhstan at the international stage, he did so at the Under-18 World Championship Division 1 tournament. And at that tournament, he and Kazakhstan won gold. He was also named the tournament's top goaltender and Kazakhstan's top player of the tournament. From highlights, as you can see on your screen right now, he's very athletic and flexible. Lots, and I mean lots, of potential for growth here. Keep an eye on Vladimir. You never know with goaltenders. Senator Assistant General Manager Trent Mann said about the prospect, he's raw and he's going to Chilliwack. This kid hits all the points as far as staff was concerned, along with our goalie coaches. We feel like if we don't pick a goalie, how do you get one? They take a little longer. Our guys will be able to work with him and help him refine his game. So welcome to Ottawa, Vladimir Nikitan. Very excited to see this guy develop. Big fan of goaltenders always. And it never hurts to take a goaltender, especially in the 7th round, especially a guy like this with such an impressive resume. So welcome to Ottawa, Vladimir, once again. Very excited to see him play in the BCHL next year. With their last selection in this year's draft at 250th overall, the Ottawa Senators selected Nicholas Vantassell out of the USHL. Now, he's a 19-year-old overager, but he's a big center at 6'4", 196 pounds. But once again, he is an overager. And by the way, Emil Järventie, Roby Järventie's brother, was available here. That guy was projected to go in the top 100. Don't know how he lasted till the 7th round. Pittsburgh ended up stealing him late in the 7th round. Really wish Ottawa did take him here. But once again, you never know what happens with Nicholas Vantassell. He could be a good player as well. Just kind of shocked that Ottawa didn't take the brother of one of their prospects. But hey, to each their own, and we're excited to see Nicholas Vantassell in Ottawa. He played in 62 games in the USAHL last year, put up 37 points, 19 goals, and during an interview with USAHL media, Nicholas mentioned how he strives to block shots and get in the dirty areas to help his team win. So he can contribute, of course, offensively, but he's not afraid to get to the dirty areas, lay his body on the line, and help his team win however he can. So that's great to hear. He as well is committed to the University of Massachusetts next season of the NCAA, so keep an eye out next year for the NCAA. A lot of prospects will be playing there. So let's just see how he does in NCAA against tougher competition before passing really any judgment. I think this guy can, who knows? He's got the frame to be a solid prospect, but we really have to see how he does against tougher competition in the NCAA. So besides that, welcome to Ottawa, Nicholas Vantassell. Fire up to have you. And with that, that is the 2023 NHL draft class for your Ottawa Senators. Welcome to Ottawa to all of them. Now let's wrap up today's video. So overall, considering Ottawa didn't select until 108th overall in the 4th round, I'm pretty satisfied with who we took. Got a bunch of huge lads. All of the prospects we drafted today are over 6'2", okay? We got some high upside players too, like Hoyt Stanley in the 4th round, or Vladimir Nikitan, the goaltender in the 7th round out of Kazakhstan, and lots of grit as well, like Andonovski and Vantassell. So overall, I think Ottawa did very well with what they had, a lot of late round picks, and I'm excited to see how these prospects continue to develop and where they end up in the next few years. Besides that, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. As always, I look forward to responding and debating as usual in the comment section. Besides that, July 1st, in a couple days, is free agency day, so I'll see you in a few days when Ottawa hopefully makes some free agent signings. So besides that, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Go Sens, go.